night is quiet. The city sleeps, but not in peace. Whispers of doubt curl through the narrow streets. Shadows gather in corners where truth once lived. Promises are broken, and trust feels fragile as glass. The people wait for something unseen, a light to guide them, a sign that justice is not lost forever. High above, in a temple of marble and silence, a goddess watches with steady, unblinking eyes. Athena, the bearer of wisdom, sees the cracks forming in mortal hearts. She knows despair is growing, yet she also senses something hidden, a spark, a flame waiting to be born again in the darkness. Legends speak of the justice flame, a fire that burns only when truth is honored and voices are free. Long ago it glowed bright, but now it flickers, dim and frail, almost gone with the weight of lies. The goddess leans forward, her gaze falling on one soul below, quiet yet restless in the night. She whispers across the silence, sending a call that trembles like wind in the trees, soft but certain. The story begins here, with a voice, a dream, and a journey to awaken the flame of justice once more. The city lies beneath a veil of silence, yet the silence is heavy, thick, and filled with unspoken fears. In narrow alleys, whispers rise like smoke, curling upward before fading into the restless night air. Merchants close their shops early, not out of fatigue, but out of distrust that lingers in every glance. Coins exchange hands, but fairness no longer walks beside them. Greed has become the hidden companion. In the courts, voices of the poor tremble, unheard, drowned by the weight of louder, wealthier tongues. Promises echo in the marketplace like hollow shells, shining on the outside but empty within. Children hear their parents sigh, sensing that something is wrong though they cannot name its shadow. The baker, once known for honesty, measures his flour with a hand grown uncertain and sly. The farmer lowers his eyes, ashamed of bargains broken not by hunger, but by temptation. Every soul feels the weight of something missing, though none dare speak its name aloud. Trust is a fragile glass. Once cracked, it holds water no longer. The city feels that crack deepening, and so the people wait. But they do not wait for rulers. They wait for truth, for light, for hope. At night, in taverns dimly lit, conversations shift to questions of fairness long abandoned. One asks if honesty is still worth the risk. Another wonders if truth has any value at all. No one answers, for answers bring danger, and danger feeds on courage spoken too freely. The city once sang with laughter, yet now its music is muted, broken by suspicion and deceit. Neighbors watch neighbors not with kindness, but with wary eyes, as if betrayal lurks in every smile. Fathers teach sons to be clever rather than good, to hide truth rather than to speak it. Mothers warn daughters that honesty is a luxury the world no longer pays for in kindness. Thus grows the shadow, not with swords or armies, but with silence lies and quiet surrender. In the grand hall, officials sit beneath banners of justice, though their words taste of corruption. They smile for the people, but their eyes reveal a hunger deeper than any noble vow. Petitions are read, ignored, dismissed, like fallen leaves swept away by careless hands. The law is spoken, but its spirit has left, leaving behind only a husk, cold and hollow. Citizens return to their homes, heads bowed, wondering if fairness is only a dream told by elders. Even the temple steps, once alive with offerings of gratitude, now stand bare and forgotten. The flame that should burn in the hearts of the faithful flickers dim, lost beneath heavy doubt. Yet, in all darkness, there is a whisper, a quiet stirring, like a seed waiting in barren soil. Though the city seems broken, Hope still lingers in the corners of its weary soul. A child pauses at the fountain, gazing into the water, and dares to wish for something better. An old poet, weary of false praises, hides verses of truth within the folds of his robe. A farmer, though tempted by lies, still kneels to the earth and asks for harvest born of honesty. The people do not know it, but these small sparks remain, hidden embers in the wind of despair. Above all, unseen by mortal eyes, the goddess watches, her gaze steady, her wisdom unshaken. Athena sees the cracks, yes, but she also sees the sparks, waiting for breath, waiting for flame. The justice flame sleeps, faint and fragile, but not gone. It waits for hands brave enough to seek it. For now, the city walks in shadow. But stories remind us, even in silence, hope is never truly lost. This is the whisper of injustice, the beginning of a tale where truth must rise or fade forever. High above the restless city, marble pillars rise into the sky, white against the deep blue night. The temple of Athena stands silent, but silence here is sacred, filled with patience and timeless watch. The goddess of wisdom sits within, her gaze steady, her presence a calm flame that never falters. She sees the city below, every sigh, every unspoken word, every broken promise floating like ash. To mortals, the streets are crowded. To her, they are threads woven into a vast tapestry of choices. Each thread is tangled, yet she sees patterns. Lines of truth still faint, but not erased by corruption. Her eyes pierce through roofs, walls, and locked doors, finding the hearts that still beat with hope. She sees the farmer who kneels in soil, honest in prayer, though weary in body. She sees the poet hiding verses, his hands trembling, yet his soul refusing to bend to lies. She sees a judge, young but uncertain, questioning if justice can still stand unbroken in shadow. Athena knows despair is heavy, but she also knows despair does not end stories. It only tests them. Her temple glows faintly, not with torches, but with the steady light of thought and eternal watchfulness. The iphoric goddess does not weep, nor does she rage. She listens, and listening is her greatest strength. For in every sigh, she hears the hunger for fairness. In every whisper, the longing for truth. The city has not forgotten justice completely. It has only hidden it beneath fear and silence. Athena's wisdom sees deeper than appearances. She knows silence is never empty. Silence hides seeds. In the marketplace, a child's wish at the fountain ripples through water, and she marks the moment. In the judge's chamber, hesitation pauses his hand, and she knows the flame of doubt can guard truth. In the tavern, a conversation cut short leaves a spark behind, and she feels it tremble in the air. The goddess gathers these sparks as one might gather embers from ashes, careful not to let them fade. Her presence stretches beyond the temple walls, threading through dreams, thoughts, and hidden desires. To the people, the night is restless. To Athena, the night is alive with the possibility of renewal. She does not force her will upon mortals. Wisdom never commands. It guides. It whispers. It waits. For justice born of fear cannot endure. Only justice chosen freely can hold its flame against time. Athena knows the justice flame flickers in its sanctuary, fragile but waiting, as all flames do. Once, it burned brightly, lighting courts, homes, and hearts with fairness. But now it trembles weak. The goddess bends her gaze upon the sanctuary, the flame faint, almost unseen, yet still alive. Its weakness is not defeat. Its weakness is an invitation, a call for mortal hands to act. Athena does not move her hand to strengthen it. Instead, she waits for mortals to remember courage. Her wisdom tells her this: Justice must belong to those who seek it, not those who are given it. So she watches, silent but strong, her presence a guardian for what must be born within the people. The city believes it is alone, but in truth, a divine gaze shields it, patient and unyielding. Athena's heart does not break, for wisdom knows cycles. Darkness comes, but so does light. The goddess leans forward, her voice ready to drift across the veil of dreams. She chooses her messengers carefully, not rulers nor soldiers, but those who carry quiet strength. Her words are soft as wind, yet heavy as stone. They move unseen, yet they settle deeply in souls. A scholar stirs in her sleep, touched by a whisper of purpose she does not yet understand. The goddess has chosen. The city is not forgotten. The justice flame will not vanish into nothing. Athena sees the spark and prepares to breathe life into it with the strength of mortal hearts. She is the watcher, the weaver, the guardian of truth. And tonight, her gaze grows ever brighter. The story moves forward. For the goddess has seen, and what she sees cannot be left undone. Beneath the hills, far from the restless streets, lies a sanctuary carved in stone and silence. Its walls are ancient, older than the city, older than the first laws spoken by mortal tongues. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of ash, though no fire has burned here in many seasons. At its heart rests a pedestal of marble, plain yet powerful, marked with symbols of truth and balance. Upon that pedestal sits a flame, small and trembling, like the last breath of a candle in the wind. This is the justice flame, once a beacon of fairness, once a fire that could not be extinguished by lies. Legends say it was lit by Athena herself, not with torch or spark, but with wisdom and sacred promise. It burned brightest when truth was honored, when the weak were heard, when the strong were held accountable. But as deceit grew and trust withered, the flame weakened, dimming until only a pale light remained. Now it flickers faintly, casting long shadows on the sanctuary's walls, shadows heavy with silence. Yet the flame does not vanish. Its nature is patient. It endures, waiting for voices to call it alive. Priests once guarded it, chanting prayers, reminding all who came that justice was not a gift, but a vow. One by one, they left, their voices drowned by the noise of a world that no longer cared to listen. Now the sanctuary is quiet, its halls empty, its echoes the only company for the trembling fire. Still, the flame remembers. It remembers laughter of children who believed justice was eternal. It remembers the judge who touched its warmth before swearing an oath to fairness and truth. It remembers the poet who sang of its light, calling it the star that guided mortal hearts. Every memory clings to its fire, though faint, like sparks trapped in the edges of a fading dream. Above, Athena's gaze watches it closely. She does not fear its end, for she knows its secret. A true flame of justice cannot be killed. It may dim, it may hide, but it waits with infinite patience. The justice flame is more than fire. It is a mirror, glowing only with the honesty of those who seek it. When mortals turn away, it fades. When mortals remember truth, it shines. Such is its eternal law. Tonight, its glow is pale, but not gone. It dances lightly, as if stirred by something unseen. Perhaps it feels the weight of the goddess's eyes. Perhaps it senses that change is near once more. The flame is small, but within it is the memory of ages, the wisdom of countless trials endured. It does not need wood nor oil. It feeds on courage, on fairness, on voices that dare to speak truth. And so it waits, patient, steady, listening for the footsteps of those bold enough to approach. The city above knows nothing of its chamber, Yet the city's fate depends upon this quiet light. Every lie weakens it, every injustice makes it shiver, yet every act of kindness strengthens its glow. Though faint, it still carries a heartbeat, pulsing softly as though it breathes with the world itself. If one looks closely, shapes appear in its light, scales of balance, feathers of truth, eyes of clarity. It whispers without sound, reminding the air that justice is never lost, only forgotten by men. Athena's hand does not touch it, but her spirit surrounds it, holding it steady through its fragile night. She knows the time approaches when mortals will be called to stand before this fragile flame again. And she knows that within its glow lies the power to transform despair into courage, lies into truth. The justice flame trembles, yes, but it does not surrender. It waits for those who will seek its fire. And in its waiting, it holds the promise of renewal, the promise that justice can still rise once more. In a modest home at the edge of the city, a young scholar rests, her lamp burning low into the night. Her name is Lysandra, known not for wealth or power, but for her hunger to question, to understand. Books surround her, scrolls marked with notes, each filled with questions that others are afraid to ask. She studies laws, histories, and forgotten tales, searching for patterns where truth might still be found. Yet tonight, her eyes are heavy, her thoughts clouded, her heart uncertain of the path she walks. The city whispers outside her window, restless with fear, its voice threading into her uneasy dreams. As her head lowers upon the desk, sleep takes her, but not gently. It takes her into vision. Darkness first surrounds her, deep and endless. A silence so heavy it feels alive. Then a spark appears, small, distant, but pulsing, as if calling her forward with each flicker of light. She steps closer, though no ground lies beneath her feet, only the vast emptiness of dream. The spark grows, shaping itself into a flame, trembling but unbroken, suspended in the endless void. And before it, a figure emerges, tall and radiant, clothed in wisdom, crowned with the calm of eternity. Athena stands before her, not as marble or myth, but as presence, clear and undeniable. Her voice is steady, low like thunder hidden in mountains, yet soft enough to soothe a trembling heart. Lysandra, she says, you see what many choose to ignore. You hear the silence where justice should speak. The scholar trembles, bowing her head, uncertain if she should answer or remain silent in awe. Athena's gaze does not waver. The flame grows weak, not from age, but from the choices of mortals. The justice flame waits. It calls to those who will walk not with weapons, but with truth in hand. You, Lysandra, are chosen not for strength, but for courage to question and faith to endure. The scholar lifts her eyes, fear mingling with wonder, her heart racing with a weight she cannot name. But why me? She whispers, her voice shaking. I am no leader, no judge, no warrior of renown. The goddess smiles, faint but warm, as if she had expected the doubt before it was spoken. Leaders are often blind, warriors are often proud, but a seeker of wisdom carries no mask. It is the humble heart that can guard truth. It is the listening ear that can awaken justice. The flame between them flickers, brighter now, as if fed by the goddess's words and the scholar's fear. Athena extends her hand, not touching, but guiding, and the flame drifts closer to Lysandra's chest. Its warmth seeps into her, not burning, but filling her with clarity, a weightless burden of purpose. You will not walk alone, Athena continues, for others wait, though they do not yet know the path. Find them, Together, you will rekindle the flame, not by force, but by truth spoken and lived. The vision trembles, light growing stronger, surrounding Lysandra in brilliance she cannot withstand. Athena's final words echo. Justice is not mine to give. It must be chosen. It must be lived. The scholar wakes with a gasp, her lamp flickering, her heart pounding as if she had run a race. Her hands tremble, yet within them she feels a warmth that was not there before. A fire unseen. The night around her is quiet, but she knows the silence is different now, charged with calling. She looks at her books, at her scattered notes, at the city beyond her window, cloaked in shadow. Doubt whispers still, but beneath it something stronger rises, resolve, quiet and steady as breath. The calling is clear, and though fear lingers, courage begins to stir, fragile but real within her soul. And so begins her journey, not yet with steps upon the road, but with the awakening of purpose. The morning light breaks across the rooftops, soft but insistent, chasing away the last threads of dream. Lysandra sits by her window, her eyes searching the horizon, her heart echoing the goddess's words. The memory of the flame lingers, warm in her chest, though unseen by any but her. She wonders if it was truly Athena, or merely her mind weaving illusions from sleepless nights. Yet the warmth feels real, steady and alive, as if breathing quietly beneath her skin. The city outside stirs, vendors calling, carts rolling, neighbors exchanging brief words with wary glances. The tension is clear even in the morning bustle, like a storm cloud hanging over a sunny sky. People whisper of injustice but rarely act, their voices caught between fear and resignation. Lysandra's fingers brush the edges of her scattered notes, each filled with questions no one dares to ask. She thinks of Athena's command, not to fight with weapons, but to walk with truth in hand. Her chest tightens with doubt, but the whisper of courage grows, fragile yet persistent. She gathers her scrolls, placing them neatly into a satchel, though her hands tremble at the task. A journey waits, though she knows neither its path nor its end, only that she must begin. She steps outside, the streets greeting her with noise and movement, yet she feels strangely apart from it. Every face she sees carries a shadow of worry, an unspoken silence pressing on their hearts. She wonders how many have heard the same whispers in their dreams, how many feel the same pull. Her feet carry her toward the marketplace, a place of noise, trade, and voices mingling like streams. Among the shouts of vendors and clatter of coins, she listens for something deeper, something hidden. Then she hears it, a quiet conversation near the well, voices lowered but firm with conviction. Two figures stand together, a young man and an older woman, speaking words that sound like truth. They speak not of profit or fear, but of fairness, of burdens carried unequally, of promises betrayed. The crowd flows around them, most ignoring, some listening briefly, but their words do not fade. Lysandra's heart leaps. Could these be the ones Athena spoke of, the companions yet unaware? She draws closer, pretending to drink from the well, though her ears strain to catch every word. The young man's voice is steady, carrying the quiet fire of conviction without arrogance or pride. The older woman's tone is sharp but kind, tempered by years of seeing pain and refusing to yield. Lysandra feels the warmth in her chest stir again, stronger now, as if recognizing kindred spirits. She waits until their words quiet, then steps forward, her voice uncertain, but her resolve clear. Your words, she says. They carry something rare, something the city needs, though it fears to hear. The two turn to her, wary at first, as strangers often are in a city ruled by silence. But as they meet her eyes, they see not threat, but sincerity, quiet strength growing within her. The young man nods, cautious yet open. And who are you to listen when so few dare to stay? She takes a breath, steadying her heart. A seeker, a student, one who has been given a call. The older woman studies her closely, eyes sharp as flint, weighing her words as if testing their weight. At last, she nods slowly. Then perhaps you walk the same road as we do, though unmarked by sign. The three stand together in the midst of the busy square, unseen by most, yet bound by something new. Lysandra feels it, the beginning of a bond, fragile as dawn, yet bright with possibility. She does not yet know their names, nor they hers, but the flame within her burns brighter still. And so, among the noise of trade and the hush of fear, the first circle of truth is formed. Their voices will not remain whispers forever, for truth once spoken cannot be unlearned. And though danger waits, though doubt lingers, something greater has been set in motion. The justice flame stirs, faint but rising, and three souls unknowingly step together into destiny. The sun dips low, painting the city in amber and gold, yet the weight of silence still lingers in the air. Lysandra walks beside her two new companions, though their names remain unspoken, trust still unformed. They move toward quieter streets, away from the marketplace, where fewer ears might catch their words. Finally, the young man speaks, his tone measured, his eyes sharp as he glances at Lysandra. "My name is Dorian," he says, "and I speak because silence has bound our city for too long." The older woman follows, her voice steady, though lines of sorrow mark her face. "I am Selene." Lysandra bows her head slightly, offering her truth in return. Lysandra, a scholar, nothing more, yet called. At the word called, Selene's gaze sharpens, and Dorian tilts his head, curiosity glinting in his eyes. "Called by what?" he asks, though his voice holds no mockery, only the weight of genuine interest. Lysandra hesitates, her heart racing, uncertain if truth will bring trust or only doubt and suspicion. Yet the warmth in her chest pulses, urging her to speak. She breathes deep, steadying her words. "In a dream," she says softly, "Athena came to me. She showed me a flame that falters." Dorian exhales sharply, his brow furrowing. A goddess? Or a shadow born of weary study and sleepless nights? Selene studies her longer, her silence deeper before finally nodding once. "And yet, you believe it true?" Lysandra meets her eyes, her voice firmer now. "I do, because the flame lives in me still." For a moment the street grows quiet, only footsteps echoing on worn stone, their thoughts heavy. At last Selene speaks, her voice low. "Perhaps it is madness, or perhaps it is precisely what we need." Dorian frowns, but not in dismissal, rather in thought, as if measuring words he dares not yet say. They walk until they reach an abandoned courtyard, ivy twisting over broken columns, silence holding the space. Here Selene lowers herself onto a fallen stone, her hands clasped as if in quiet prayer. "This city," she begins, "once thrived on fairness. I remember when voices were heard and justice was real. But power shifted, promises dissolved, and those who spoke truth found themselves silenced in darker ways." Dorian nods, his fists tightening at his sides. "My father was one of them. His words cost him everything." Lysandra listens, her heart aching, her chest warm, as if the flame responds to their shared pain. "You are not alone," she whispers. "The goddess said others would walk this path. Perhaps you are they." Selene's eyes close briefly, her voice almost a sigh. "If so, then we must tread carefully. Justice is not free. It will cost us, though perhaps in ways unseen. Dorian looks at Lysandra, his doubts still lingering, but his resolve growing. If Athena has chosen, prove it. Not to us, he adds quickly, but to yourself. Let the flame guide you where words must go. Lysandra feels the challenge, heavy yet necessary. She nods slowly, though her heart quivers with uncertainty. The three sit together in silence, the courtyard filled with the hum of evening crickets and soft wind. Each carries fear, yet also the fragile thread of hope, binding them closer than any vow could. At last, Selene rises, her figure strong against the fading light. Tomorrow we begin, not with noise, but with listening, with seeking the cracks where truth might still slip through. Dorian gives a faint smile, though shadows remain in his eyes. Then tomorrow, the circle of 3 acts. Lysandra breathes deep, the warmth in her chest steady now, no longer fragile, but quietly burning. She knows the path ahead is uncertain, fraught with risk, yet filled with purpose, unlike any she has known. And as the first stars rise above the city, the justice flame glows brighter, unseen yet unyielding. The night does not silence them. It shelters them, carrying their resolve into the dawn to come. The dawn arrives with muted light, soft and gray, as if the sky itself is uncertain of the day. Lysandra, Selene, and Dorian gather once more in the courtyard, their voices hushed but steady. The city around them begins to wake, yet here, in this quiet corner, another kind of awakening stirs. Selene is the first to speak. We cannot move blindly. If truth is to live, we must first listen. Her words linger in the air, solemn, carrying the weight of years of silence endured. Dorian nods, though his restless hands betray a hunger to act, to challenge the injustice he despises. Lysandra watches them both, her heart steady with the warmth of the hidden flame within her. The memory of Athena's voice echoes still. Justice must be chosen. Justice must be lived. She wonders how to live such words in a city where fear has sealed so many lips. Selene gestures toward the streets beyond. We begin where voices are weakest, where silence has done the most harm. They move together, blending into the crowd as merchants call, children run, and guards watch with cold eyes. The people they pass wear tired expressions, but beneath the fatigue, Lysandra senses unspoken stories waiting. At the steps of a cracked fountain, an old man speaks to no one, his voice low, his eyes dim. His words are fragments, memories of fairness once known, of promises made and broken in the same breath. Few listen. Most walk past, their ears hardened, their hope drained by years of unkept vows. Yet Lysandra stops. Selene follows, and even Dorian, impatient, lingers to hear the man's quiet ramble. The old man notices them, his gaze sharpening as if unused to being truly seen. You listen, he mutters, voice trembling. Most do not. Most fear that listening alone will draw punishment. Selene kneels beside him, her tone kind. We do not fear truth. Tell us what still burns in you. His eyes glisten, and slowly, words long buried rise, heavy but filled with fragile light. He speaks of land taken without reason, of families scattered, of justice promised but never delivered. Lysandra feels the flame within her respond, each word a spark feeding its quiet strength. When he finishes, silence settles, not of dismissal, but of reverence for a voice. Finally heard, Dorian breaks it softly, his usual fire subdued. Your words matter. Even when they are ignored, they remain truth. The old man nods, tears slipping down his weathered cheeks, his voice almost a whisper. Then carry them. They leave him with gratitude, but also with the knowledge that truth is not only theirs to hold. It belongs to all, even the weary, even the forgotten, even those who believe no one hears. As they walk on, Dorian shakes his head. So many voices buried. How can we lift them all? Lysandra answers, her voice steady. Not by lifting alone, but by making space where silence cannot remain. Selene adds, one flame is fragile, but many together can burn brighter than shadow dares to withstand. Their steps take them deeper into the city, where silence feels thickest, where fear grips the strongest. Here they find a mother with eyes hollow from grief, her child's laughter silenced by injustice unspoken. She does not cry, but her silence is heavy enough to drown the street around her. Selene sits beside her, taking her hand without words, a gesture that speaks louder than any cry. The woman trembles, but does not pull away. Slowly, her lips part, her voice breaking the air. She tells her story, halting, fragile, but real. The others listen, their silence no longer oppressive, but alive. Each word spoken is another crack in the wall that fear has built across the city's soul. Lysandra feels the justice flame stir again, brighter, stronger, alive not only within her, but around them. She realizes then that truth does not belong to one voice, nor to three, but to all who dare speak. The circle widens, not by proclamation, but by listening, by making silence serve truth instead of fear. And as the day fades, the three walk back to their courtyard, their hearts heavier, yet stronger. The path ahead is uncertain, but the spark has caught. The justice flame flickers brighter, fed not by gods alone, but by mortal voices refusing to vanish. Night falls gently over the city, wrapping its walls and streets in a hushed, fragile darkness. The stars emerge, timid and flickering, as though they too hesitate to shine where silence rules. Lysandra cannot sleep, her heart restless with the weight of voices heard and yet to be heard. She walks through the courtyard, the stone cool beneath her feet, the flame inside her steady but urging. Selene joins her, calm as always. Her presence a quiet reminder that wisdom is strength, not weakness. Dorian appears too, unable to stay still, his eyes fierce even in shadow, his spirit craving action. The three gather, their bond unspoken yet solid, drawn together by a cause larger than themselves. Selene breaks the silence first. We cannot carry every voice alone. We must find others who will listen. Her words echo like a bell, calling them toward a truth they already knew, but had not yet spoken. Dorian clenches his fists, frustrated. The people are afraid. They whisper, then fall silent when shadows draw near. Lysandra lifts her gaze to the stars, her voice firm. Fear may silence, but hope can awaken what sleeps. Together, they leave the safety of stone walls and step into the city night, guided only by resolve. The streets are quieter now, but life lingers, hidden, hushed, waiting for someone to stir its courage. They pass a row of shuttered windows, behind which faint lamplight flickers like fragile hearts. A door opens suddenly, and a young boy peers out, eyes wide, his voice barely more than a whisper. "Are you the ones who listen?" he asks, his words trembling like a secret desperate to be kept. The three exchange glances, startled by the recognition, yet warmed by the proof that whispers travel. Lysandra kneels, her smile gentle. "We listen. Do you have something that must be heard?" The boy nods quickly, then darts back inside, returning with his mother, her face pale with worry. She hesitates, her eyes darting toward the empty street. But finally she speaks in a low voice. Her story is one of injustice woven into her days, of burdens pressed heavy upon her shoulders. As her words flow, Lysandra feels again the quiet stirring of the justice flame, steady and growing. Dorian listens, his fire tempered by empathy, his anger softened into determination to honor her pain. Selene, ever steady, assures her, "Your truth is not lost. It matters more than silence ever could." The woman weeps, not with despair, but with relief, as though speaking alone has lifted years of weight. When they leave her door, others begin to emerge, shadows turning into faces, silence into cautious voices. One by one, stories spill out into the night. Whispers of wrongs endured, of truths never spoken aloud. The courtyard of their secret meeting fills, not with leaders or soldiers, but with neighbors and kin. Lysandra feels the circle widening, each story weaving into another, forming a tapestry of courage. The justice flame burns brighter, not as hers alone, but as light kindled by many voices rising. For the first time, she understands Athena's gift fully. Not a weapon, but a beacon. Not force, but fire. Selene's eyes glisten, reflecting the torchlight of courage spreading like dawn across shadowed streets. Dorian smiles faintly, his restlessness easing, his strength no longer lonely, but joined by many. The people are still afraid, but now their fear stands beside hope, not alone in silence. Lysandra whispers, more to herself than the others. Justice is not given. It is carried, voice by voice. The night deepens, yet the city feels lighter, filled with the fragile beginnings of a rising dawn. And so, with stars above and voices around, the justice flame continues to grow, unseen yet unstoppable. Morning light stretches across the rooftops, soft and golden, carrying with it a fragile promise of change. The city stirs again, but something lingers from the night before, a quiet energy in the air. Lysandra feels it the moment she wakes. The justice flame inside her, warm, steady, and quietly urging forward. Selene moves with calm precision, gathering scrolls and notes, as though wisdom itself must be carried like bread. Dorian sharpens his voice, not his blade, for words have become his chosen weapon against silence. They step into the streets, no longer strangers but known now as the ones who listen without fear. Eyes follow them, cautious but not hostile, as though hope itself is testing whether it can trust again. At the edge of the marketplace, a young girl waits, clutching a ribbon worn thin by worry. Her small voice trembles. My father spoke truth once. Now he does not speak at all. Lysandra kneels, her hand gentle on the girl's shoulder. Your words carry him. Share them, and we will listen. The girl nods, her tears silent, her courage fragile, but enough to awaken those nearby to her pain. Others gather, listening not only to the girl but to themselves, realizing silence is no longer their only choice. The marketplace, once filled with noise of trade alone, hums now with the tender weight of stories. Selene writes each down, her hand steady, treating every word as a treasure worthy of keeping. Dorian speaks to the crowd, his tone firm but kind. Truth is not dangerous. It is silence that destroys. His voice carries, strong enough to reach those lingering at the edge, afraid to step closer. Slowly, more voices rise, fragile as candle flames, flickering yet refusing to vanish in the wind. A potter tells of stolen clay, a weaver of unfair demands, a scribe of erased records of truth. Each story weaves into the next, binding strangers into something more, a tapestry of shared courage. Lysandra feels the justice flame grow warmer, no longer a secret, but a pulse felt among many. She speaks softly but firmly. Your voices are the fire. Together, you burn brighter than shadow ever could. The crowd murmurs, not with fear, but with the stirrings of belief long buried beneath years of silence. For the first time, the square does not echo with just trade and coin, but with truth unafraid to breathe. As the gathering grows, the city guards arrive, their eyes sharp, their presence heavy with unspoken warning. The voices falter, some shrinking back, fear returning like an old habit that refuses to die. But Lysandra stands tall, her flame steady, her words calm. We speak only truth. Will you silence truth itself? The guards hesitate, unsure, for silence is their weapon. Yet truth does not yield like steel or stone. Selene steps forward, her tone like flowing water. A city that silences truth silences itself. Is that what you guard? The guards exchange uncertain looks, their authority shaken by words that cut without cruelty, strong yet gentle. Dorian raises his voice, fierce but controlled. Fear has ruled long. Enough. Let justice breathe here today. The crowd stirs again, voices rising, no longer willing to surrender so quickly to silence. The guards, outnumbered not by weapons, but by courage, withdraw slowly, their steps heavy with doubt. A cheer erupts, not loud but powerful, the sound of a people reclaiming a space once stolen. Lysandra feels the justice flame blaze higher, fed by the courage of those who dared to remain. Selene whispers to her, "This is only the beginning. Truth has found its voice. It will not fall silent again." Dorian smiles, the fire in his spirit no longer restless, but steady, shared by the many around him. The city feels different now, lighter, though the path ahead remains steep, uncertain, and fraught with trial. Still, as the sun climbs higher, casting gold across the square, hope feels stronger than fear. And the justice flame, born of Athena's gift, now lives not in one, but in many, unbreakable and alive. The day after the marketplace gathering dawns with tension, like a string pulled too tight across the city. Whispers ripple through the streets, carrying both hope and fear, as if the air itself has learned to speak. Lysandra walks among the people, feeling the justice flame steady, urging her to listen, not to command. Selene records every story, her scrolls filling quickly, each word heavy with the weight of hidden years. Dorian watches the corners, his voice ready to rise if silence dares to smother truth again. Everywhere they go, they are met not with indifference, but with hesitant eyes, weighing whether to trust. In a quiet alley, a craftsman approaches, his hands rough with labor, his voice shaking but clear. "I carved for the council once," he says, "but they erased my name, leaving only theirs upon the stone." Lysandra's chest aches at his pain, but she answers with calm strength. Truth carves deeper than silence. Selene writes quickly, her ink flowing like water, giving permanence to a voice long denied recognition. Dorian lays a hand on the man's shoulder, steadying him, proving that his story matters beyond record. As they continue, more voices find them. Merchants cheated, elders dismissed, children silenced when they ask why. The justice flame glows stronger, its warmth not only inside Lysandra, but reflected in every awakened heart. Yet shadow watches too. From balconies and hidden corners, eyes mark their path, weighing what they stir. At dusk, a messenger arrives, cloaked in gray, his tone respectful but edged with warning. "The council knows of you," he says. "They say silence keeps peace. They will not welcome your flame." Dorian's jaw tightens, anger hot in his throat. But Selene lifts a hand, steady and wise. "Peace without truth is not peace," she answers calmly. It is quiet despair disguised as harmony. The messenger bows slightly, conflicted. then vanishes back into the folds of the watching city. That night, the three return to their courtyard, where the first circle of listeners already gathers. Faces lit by torchlight, voices low but alive. The people wait to share and to hear once more. Lysandra stands before them, not as a leader, but as a keeper of a fire meant for all. The justice flame is not mine alone, she tells them. It belongs to every voice that dares to rise. The people nod, their murmurs a current of courage threading through the night's still air. Selene unrolls her scroll, reading fragments aloud, each word lifting the silence, binding them together. Dorian adds his voice, strong and bright, declaring that no guard or council can erase live truth. The crowd answers with whispers, then with firmer words, stories overlapping like many streams into one river. The flame within Lysandra pulses brighter, flickering in rhythm with the courage swelling around her. She sees Athena's vision clearer now, not a fire of destruction, but of illumination, a light against lies. The night stretches long, filled with voices rising and weaving into something larger than fear. By dawn, the circle has doubled, then tripled, each person carrying fragments of truth to share. No banners are raised, no battles fought. Yet the city feels different, shifting under the weight of honesty. Lysandra looks at her companions, seeing Selene's calm eyes and Dorian's steady fire beside her. The path ahead grows more dangerous, but their bond and the voices with them make the burden lighter. As the first rays of sun spill across the courtyard, the justice flame burns strong, no longer hidden. It belongs to them all now, a light shared, a fire alive, a promise the city cannot unhear. The city awakens to a new rhythm, no longer hushed, but alive with voices that once trembled in silence. Lysandra stands at the heart of the square, the justice flame glowing steady, casting warmth into the morning air. The people gather, not by command, but by choice, drawn to a promise that truth belongs to all, not the few. Selene's scrolls are heavy with stories, yet she smiles, for the words have leapt from parchment into living memory. Dorian lifts his voice once more, his tone bright and unyielding, guiding others to believe their words hold power. The justice flame flickers, but it does not waver, a reflection of every heart that dared to speak without fear. Athena's presence lingers like a whisper, not seen but felt, her wisdom threaded through the courage of the city. The council does not vanish, nor do they crumble, but they are forced to listen, their silence no longer law. The people's voices rise like a tide, patient but unstoppable, washing against the walls built to contain them. In that rising chorus, fear loses its grip, and the city learns that peace thrives not in quiet, but in truth. Lysandra feels no triumph, only a steady calm, knowing the flame was never hers to keep, only to share. She lifts the justice flame, high, its glow soft yet unyielding, reaching into the corners where shadows once hid. Selene reads aloud the names of those forgotten, her voice weaving them back into the fabric of the city. Dorian calls for laughter, for joy, for courage, reminding them that hope too is a weapon against despair. The crowd answers, not with cheers but with stories, each voice adding another spark to the living fire. The marketplace, once burdened by silence, now hums with words exchanged freely, truth trading as openly as goods. The children listen wide-eyed, hearing not myths but real courage, lessons carried in the voices of their elders. The justice flame pulses brighter with every word spoken, not consuming, but illuminating paths once hidden. Lysandra looks to Selene and Dorian, her companions bound not by fate, but by the choices they made together. She knows the path ahead will not be free of shadows, for silence always seeks to return and settle. But she also knows the people have learned to carry light, and no darkness can withstand so many flames. The city breathes differently now, as though the walls themselves have shifted, echoing the truth that fills the streets. Athena's whisper lingers once more, a blessing carried on the morning wind, soft yet filled with timeless strength. You have lit the fire, the goddess says within her heart. But it is theirs to tend, theirs to guard. Lysandra bows her head, not in burden, but in gratitude, for the justice flame has found its rightful home. The people disperse slowly, their voices still carrying, their steps lighter, their eyes awake with newfound clarity. Selene rolls her final scroll, not as an ending, but as a promise to keep memory alive for all. Dorian clasps his hands together, a grin spreading, for he sees not silence ahead, but songs waiting to rise. As the sun climbs higher, the justice flame glows steady, its warmth spreading like dawn across the waking city. No banners wave, no monuments rise, yet the people themselves are the proof of change, living symbols of courage. The story does not end, for truth is never finished, but continues each day with every voice that dares. Athena watches from the realm of gods, her heart steady, knowing her flame has become something eternal here. The justice flame burns on, not as a relic, not as a gift, but as a living fire in every soul. And so the city learns that silence is not peace, and truth is not danger, but the very breath of life. The justice flame remains, not in the temple, not in the council, but carried within the people forevermore.